Hi, my amazing planner friends. It's Jess from My Magical Planner, and we have a new pen to open and play with today. This is the new Sailor pen. It's the Sailor Tuzu, I think is how you say it. I could be totally off. I'm sorry if I am. But this pen came out just a few months ago and has been really kind of rocking the pen world, I would say. A lot of people seem to have picked it up and are really excited about it. Now, everybody that I've seen talk about this pen is talking about the rotating grip, which I think is an amazing feature, but that's not why I bought this pen, to be honest. So I'm excited to share with you the unique feature this pen has that made me go, I totally want one. Besides the fact that it is now Sailor's new introductory pen at only, so I got it from Goulet Pens, and there it was $39.50. I think it might be a little bit more expensive at some other places, but it's a really nice introductory pen price. Kind of competes with the TWSBI and the Lamy and that kind of thing. And Sailor doesn't really have many pens in that category. Most of their pens are the like $200 and up price point with gold nibs and special like finishes on the bodies and things like that, which I'm not comfortable buying a pen at that price point without first trying something similar at a much more reasonable price point. So that's where this pen came in for me. So let's go ahead and open it up and we'll take a look. I did get the medium nib if you were wondering. So this looks like it would just kind of hang on a shelf there. Not the usual packaging you would get from a lot of the higher end pens, but that's okay. I don't really need that higher end packaging. I don't really keep the packaging per se. So here we have an instruction book and then the pen itself. So looking at, I guess it goes this way. The little book here, I think it opens this way. So it feels a little backward here, but just a general, mostly in Japanese. Do we have English as well? We do, yay. Talking about the unique grip system and everything and how to use that, which I think is going to be amazing. This makes this, the big ability to rotate the pen rest area is going to make this pen so much easier for left-handed writers or people with unique grips to fully customize the experience, and I think that's amazing. Now this pen did come in I think 3 main colors, and it has 2 additional colors. So there was the I think this is called mint. There's the black one, and then a gray one are their normal line, and then they have some seasonal colors. So there's a red and a blue out right now. When I went to order this, the only one that I could find in, because I ordered it the day they came out, and I think they've since restocked, but that day the only one I could get my hands on was the black, and I'm okay with that. So let's kind of take this guy out and look at them. The packaging is very different than what I'm used to when I'm getting a new fountain pen, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. Clips together really nicely. It almost looks like both portions of the pen are the same size. So let's kind of look at that. They really are very close. So it's interesting. There is a little something here. I don't know what that is. It looks like maybe a fiber or something. But that's interesting. I'm not used to the cap being half the size of the pen. It is supposed to post really nicely. So that seems really comfortable, at least empty. I do like the clicking mechanism. It's not a huge pen. We'll compare it to some other pens in a minute. I like just the simplicity of it. It's a very streamlined pen. It is a little bit bigger in the middle than it is on the ends, but not very much at all. So there is that. It is a converter filled pen. So we have the converter in here. Now I do know that these specific converters are a little bit pricier. I think they're $12 just for the converter. So the fact that it comes with it is really nice. It doesn't come with cartridges, but you can put a cartridge in here, no problem. So here's the big feature that everybody's been talking about. So you have a flatter portion on both sides. This is meant to kind of help you with your grip and make it so that you're holding that nib in the correct position, especially if you're a beginner fountain pen user. A lot of times people tend to rotate it a little bit, and then that can affect how the nib works. So with this particular pen, you can unscrew this little metal part and it comes down. And then you pull this down and you can rotate this little nib portion to make it feel perfect in your hand. Now, I'm not going to adjust it right now because I do want to keep it in the original position for me. But I think that's a really nice feature and could be very beneficial. I haven't used it yet, so I don't know if it's going to be beneficial to me. It does feel rather nice in my hand just as is. So here's the feature that I bought it for. So when Sailor designed this pen, usually when you're filling a pen, you're filling it kind of from this back side and where the breather hole is. So the ink and the air need to exchange places in order for it to flow. And usually when you fill a pen, you're filling it through that air hole. So on this particular pen, there is no air hole on the back. So where is it, right? If you look at the nib, you see where you normally have a breather hole on the front of your pen, this little dot right here. That is actually where this particular pen can be filled from, which makes it ideal for using with samples. And since 90% of my pen inks are samples, having a pen that can really get down there and only has to be submerged to that little hole, opposed to all the way up to kind of the base of your pen, is really appealing to me, especially with some of the inks that maybe tend to stain or things like that. Or if you're just experimenting with pens, I think it's going to be a really fun feature, and that's why I bought this pen. That combined with I thought the adjustability of this section is going to be really fun to play around with and maybe critique my grip a little bit, as well as I want to try out the Sailor pen, but I didn't want to spend $200 to do it. So spending, $40 is much more manageable for me than $200. So let's go ahead and, before I ink it up, look at this pen compared to a couple of others in my collection. So the first one I'm going to grab over here is actually what I think is probably the biggest competitor to this pen, which is a TWSBI. So it is smaller than the TWSBI. It's kind of more streamlined. It's a little bit more, like the TWSBI is almost a little flashy, I feel like, in comparison. Not Banute flashy, but still a little bit more flashy with its facets and everything. This one is rather smooth on the outside. They both have clips, and I think these clips are going to be universal. The TWSBI clip looks a little bit more substantial. This one does have like a coating on it, which is the color of your grip section as well. So that's kind of nice. But there's those two next to each other. Let's pull out a couple of other ones here. So speaking of streamlined pens, the Vanishing Point is kind of my basic black dress pen. We'll see if the TWSBI, or not the TWSBI, the Tuzu tries to replace it in that respect. I don't think it will, but they have a similarity to them in their simpleness of design. They are about, like, the Vanishing Point is just a hair bigger as well. Let's see, I have a smaller pen. Let's try my Esterbrook JR. So the JR is substantially smaller, just as a comparison. And we'll do one more. Let's try the Banute Briolette, because I feel like this might be the closest in size, actually. And they seem pretty on par. So if you have a Briolette, they're about the same length. As far as roundness, I think the Briolette is still a little bit bigger, but not by much. Now let's see if we take off the caps, who is the Briolette still about the same size? And I think it is. I think these have very similar profiles as far as sizing goes. Although the Briolette's cap may be a little smaller. Yeah, I feel like the cap's a little smaller. Next, let's look at it next to the Twisby without its cap. Definitely longer. Can't really do that with the vanishing point. The vanishing point is what it is. But we will also look at it with the JR, which I think is going to be substantially smaller, but I could be surprised. Well, not too much smaller, actually. A little bit. But I think it's a good kind of medium to small pen, I think. It has a nice girth to it. And as far as the cap goes for sealing wise, it does have an additional like inside cap inside of here to help with that sealing to make sure your pen doesn't dry out, which is nice. The click is very definite. I think this is going to be a good pen to travel with if you want something that's, you know, really simple, affordable, that type of thing. So let's go ahead and ink this guy up. And I think for our first inking, it is only fitting that we do a Sailor ink. I also purchased this at the same time as the pen. Originally, I wanted to get the blue one, so I did pick out a blue ink, but that's okay. This is Sailor's Sailor Tuzu. So it's a very blue ink. Let me show it to you. It's very dark in color. So it's this ink here, and it has a little bit of maybe sheening depending on the paper that you use it with. There's like little hints of red in there as well. So I think this is going to be a good fit for the pen, especially for a first inking. So I do have my paper towel here. I kind of use the same one until it's dead. Oh, I am gonna just kind of rotate it a couple times to make sure everything's like, this doesn't have any sparkle or anything to it. I do plan on using kind of those glittery inks in this pen, but I figured for a first inking to really get a feel for the pen, it was best to do something of this nature. So I'm going to take this portion off. We're already screwed all the way down. So I'm going to submerge just to there. And, oh, we didn't get anything that time. Maybe I have it on a slight angle. Here we go. So I did get a little bit on the pen itself there. That's just a me issue, I think, because it is a little bit hard to see in there. And so I hit it against the side of the container. So I'm just gonna wipe this off a little bit. Okay. So I can see that around the edging, maybe I have a little bit just kind of wanting to hang out there, but just dabbing it with my paper towel, I think is taking care of that. Because there is like an overlap little, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is like an indentation in here from the edge of where the pen is. So if you do submerge it past the tip, you will get a little bit of ink in that area, and you might need to just, like I did, dab it off. So for writing, we're going to try it out. I do have my Hobonichi Kazan here. So this is Tomo River paper. I'm just using a blank page that I happen to have in here. So let's see. We're gonna, oh, very nice writing. So we're going to write Tuzu, say adjustable, and filled. I like the way this is writing. Sailor, MANYOTSUYU. So definitely a really nice writing experience. How little can we write? Let's see. So I would say, you know, it's definitely not a fine, which I didn't order a fine. I think I might enjoy a fine in this, but I did want to try the medium first just because of the type of writing in ink I generally do. So this is a TWSBI Extra Fine to give you some line comparison. Sorry, it's in a lighter ink, but gives you a good kind of eye for it. Actually, I don't think I have anything in that one, but we can, I'm pretty sure the Vanishing Point still has ink. So the Vanishing Point is a fine, which you can really see the difference here in those. And then this is a medium in an Estabrook. So I feel like the line width is not too far different between the two of these, actually. Let's do a line next to each one. And I will bring this up closer to the camera so you can see a little better in just a moment. Yeah, I feel like those are really close in width. So if you have an Estabrook medium, I would say that's pretty comparable to the size of this one. I'm not seeing any kind of issues with the nib at all. It flows really nice, especially with this ink. I think I'm going to enjoy that quite a bit. So anyhow, that's all I have for today. I'm excited to try out this new pen and see how I like it. I'm super excited about having a pen that's kind of made to use with samples and seeing how that goes. So anyhow, until next time, I'll see you real soon.